Welcome back to the Abby Cakes YouTube channel. Today we are going to be covering a styrofoam cake in fondant. So this here is a styrofoam cake. Many times we use styrofoam cakes for styled shoots or to display in your bake shop. This one in particular was for a styled shoot, and then we brought it back and just display it here at the bakery. And today we are going to talk about and show you how to cover a cake in fondant. So this is an old styrofoam tier that I have. This is probably like 3 or 4 years old, and it's just been sitting around here for display. So the nice thing about these is that you can reuse them. So this is hard as a rock. I am going to get rid of all of this old fondant that's on here. So this is the fun part. Just take it off. All right, one more. So I'm just going to clean up this table, and then we are going to reuse this old piece of styrofoam. Okay, so that was a lot of fun, maybe too much fun. But now we have a clean or fondant removed styrofoam tier, and we are just going to take some vegetable shortening. You can use Crisco. This is high ratio shortening. We're just going to go all around the styrofoam. It doesn't have to be a thick coat, but definitely you want to make sure you get every piece of the styrofoam covered. That way you don't have any air bubbles when you put your fondant on. So this is going to act as our glue when we put the fondant on. So getting our fondant ready. Generally, I like to panel tiers when I'm covering them, but I can work so fast with a styrofoam tier, it's really easy to just drape and cover. So I'm just kneading here to get it nice and soft. All right, that feels pretty good. Some cornstarch. I like to pick up the fondant every few rolls and just move it around, adding more cornstarch as needed. So I'm going to cut out a circle here now, just so I can get rid of the extra that I know I don't need. So this is pretty good. I'm going to move it over to the side a little bit, bring my styrofoam in the center, and I'm just going to get underneath here, move it over, and drape. So I'm going to make sure that I seal the top with my hands. I'm just going to try to seal around the edge here very gently before I start working the rest of it. So I am just working all of these wrinkles here, stretching, pulling a little bit, and then sealing it onto the cake. I do think when you are covering cakes in fondant, time is of the essence, so that your fondant doesn't dry, you don't get elephant skin, so you do have to work quickly. But you can see here, I've got a little bunch right here. All I'm going to do is pull and then smooth a little bit. Pull and smooth. So I'm trying to straighten it out, get rid of the wrinkle. Definitely use the heat of your hands. I do have some fondant smoothers that I'm going to come back around with towards the end, but your hands are the best tool for this, and the heat from them. Gets a little tricky towards the end here because it wants to pinch, but I'm really just working it out with my fingers, pushing down a little bit, but not trying to pull the fondant, just working it nicely. So it's adhering really, really well to the vegetable shortening, but it's also very forgiving. Because it is shortening, it can move, and you can move your fondant with it, but I'm not going to get any air bubbles here because it's really, really glued to it, if you will. Okay, so that is covered pretty nicely. I am going to trim off all of this extra here that's hanging, and then we're going to go and clean it up a little bit. So you can see it's already coming apart here, but I'm still going to take my X-Acto knife and just cut it And a little tip, there's a lot of X-Acto knives out there, but I have one that's made specifically for crafting, and it is so nice, so sharp, and it's got a nice grip. It's perfect for decorating cakes. Okay, so now I'm going to take my smoothers and go around and smooth everything out. So I'm really just securing everything on here, getting out any bubbles I might have or any imperfections. I'm going to come around the side and do the same thing. So down here where there's these little creases, if you will, you can definitely work those out with a fondant smoother. You can gently push your fondant down a little bit too, and then we can trim it off. I also have one of these tools here for the edges. I like the way the edges are right now, but I could also touch them up a little bit here. They make edger tools like this that have soft edges, square edges, whatever you're going for. I'm more about sharp edges. I'm gonna come back, smooth. And then I'm gonna clean up the bottom one more time. As I was working some of the fondant out here with my tool, I know that there's extra down here. So I'm just going flush with the Styrofoam. And I'm really just taking my X-Acto knife, laying it on against the Styrofoam and going across. Turning my turntable. And that's it. That's really all there is to it. It's ready to decorate any way that we want. It's very, very secure. The fondant's not going anywhere. And if you are going to display it in your bakery or at your house, it's gonna set hard and you'll be able to keep it for years. If you have any questions, please let us know, and don't forget to like and subscribe.